Hi everyone, so in this video I wanted to talk about my art style, how I found it, what I think about it, and what I want to do going forward, and basically just all the stages I went through to get to where I am. Because I think it's a really interesting topic, and it's just something that's so personal and everyone has a different one. So I just thought that would be fun to talk about. And I'm definitely inspired by Franerd on YouTube. She did a video like this where she kind of went through her whole sort of art journey, and it was really interesting to watch and kind of see what she struggled with and what little things helped her style kind of click for her. So I'll link her video down below, and I just kind of wanted to make my own version of that video. And I also want to say thanks to this video's sponsor, which is Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community, and there's thousands of classes covering tons of different creative skills. So you can learn about animation, illustration, graphic design, all that kind of stuff. And there's a premium membership, and this gives you unlimited access to all the classes, so you can join in and find communities that are just right for you. Skillshare is the perfect place to fuel your curiosity, your creativity, improve on your skills, and it just allows you to keep on learning. A class that I find really interesting is Color Masterclass, Simple Steps to Create Vivid Art. And color is something I always struggle with, and I think it's always good to brush up on color theory and to really get a refresher. Skillshare is also quite affordable, especially if you compare it to in-person lessons, because online classes tend to be more affordable, and the annual subscription is less than $10 per month. So Skillshare actually gave me another 2-month free trial link in my description, so if you sign up with that link, you can get 2 months free on Skillshare. So thanks to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. It helps me and my channel out a lot, and on to the rest of the video. I think, like most of you, I did start with the anime style, and that is solely because I saw this like how to draw book, and it was in that style, and I just kind of fell in love with it, and it inspired me so much. I just loved the way the characters looked, I just loved the outfits, the colors, I loved everything about it, and it was just really inspiring for me, and without that I probably wouldn't have dove so deep into art as I did. So I would draw in that style for a long time, a couple of years on and off, and I would kind of do the thing where you're really obsessed with drawing for a couple of months, and then you kind of like forget about it, and then you start drawing again and you feel like you're even better, and you get really inspired to try drawing, to like keep building your skills. And there were a few people in particular that just inspired me so much to start a YouTube, and that was, what was her name? It was like Finn Rayon or something like that. I've never said her name out loud, that's so weird. Like, you know when you see people's usernames and then when you pronounce them out loud, it just sounds so different than what you hear in your head. I loved her Copic videos so much. I just was so inspired by the way she colored and her characters, and she was a big part of my art journey, I guess. But she doesn't post videos anymore, and she's kind of like, she's not really online anymore, but I really did admire her art a lot, her YouTube channel. But even before that, Sophie Chan was one of the first channels that I just adored, like the way she colored. I would watch her videos over and over, like 13-year-old me, which I was just so obsessed with her videos. And also Mark Crilly, I would follow his tutorials and draw his chibi characters and just try to like make my own, and it was just so much fun. Oh, I watched Bailey J, but I watched her when she was Zed Kitty Zed still, and then Bailey Creations, and then once, like a few years later, I found her again as Bailey J, and I still watch her. I actually love her vlogs. Her vlog channel is so motivating for some reason, and I just love seeing like how she thinks about everything and how she organizes stuff. I just think it's just inspiring to see how other artists manage everything. So those are kind of the main people. It was like Sophie Chan, Mark Crilly. Those are like the two main ones, but then there was like a bunch of other channels that I liked. I probably forgot most of their names by now, but yeah, that's kind of what my inspiration was. So I was trying to like mimic those things, I guess. But there was a distinct point. Well, actually before that, I decided to start my channel, and that was in February of 2013. That was 6 years ago. So I would have been 15 since I'm 21 right now. So that was a while ago when I started my channel, and I just found the whole process of making speed paints so fascinating. I would just film myself drawing, and it was mostly with Copic markers, and I would speed it up. It'd be like 3 minutes, and I would just throw a song on top of it, and I did that for a long time. And then I never stopped uploading. There was never a time when I forgot about my channel. I was just like consistently always thinking about it and always uploading, but it wasn't weekly or anything. I went through a style crisis, but a few of them, and the first one was when I just realized how like wrong I was drawing everything. The anatomy was so strange and the limbs were so thin, and I just didn't like the style, and some people were pointing it out to me, and I was like, oh my gosh, everybody's right. Everything I'm doing, it's just not appealing. Like, it's not, I need to improve. And that moment happens all the time. I think it's when you are about to improve, it's like a good motivator to start practicing and working on your style. So I started to work on drawing more realistic body proportions, and it was such a struggle for so long. Most of that can be seen on my DeviantArt, but I think I deleted everything from there, or I like hid everything, so you probably can't find it. But I started to just like really change the way that I drew to more of a semi-realistic style than an anime, but it was still very much anime influenced. I didn't even watch anime that much. I just enjoyed the style as a younger person. And I think when I started my channel, that was also around the time I started digital art, and that was such a struggle. I got so frustrated with digital art. I would try to draw something and I'd be like, this is not looking good. This looks so weird and bad and just odd, just not at all what I wanted. I completely forgot that way before my channel, I actually used to draw on MS Paint. And I watched this one video over and over and over that I still can't find to this day, of a speed paint of MS Paint and someone making this beautiful like illustration. I still don't know where it is. But anyways, and I had some like friends on DeviantArt and some like acquaintances and just like art buds that kind of helped me. They sort of gave me feedback on my art, and I would like post something and they'd say, oh, you might want to fix this. So I'd fix it and repost it and say, is this better? And they'd say, yes, but also it's not. Like, they point out other things. And of course that's hard to hear, but it really helped me to take criticism and use that to improve my art. I've never been like offended by that. I think it's actually super helpful, and people are just trying to help you get better. Like, they want to see your art improve. So I went through that. Like, I just kept pushing through. I'm actually gonna look at my YouTube right now to kind of get a time frame idea. So I would say about 2 or 3 years ago was when I was going through my sort of semi-realistic style, and I was really focusing on also digital art and like the painterly look. I remember distinctly the first digital painting I did where I kind of had a breakthrough moment. And what I did was like I sketched and I drew everything underneath, and I went over top and did this sort of like chunky blending style, and I still kind of do that to this day. And that was sort of a breakthrough moment where I figured out you don't need to have line art, colors, shading like all in separate layers. You can mix layers together and paint over areas. So that was a really big thing I learned that I still do, and it's super helpful. So I think like 2016, 2017 is when my improvement really kickstarted. And I didn't really find a place I was happy with for a while. My style was kind of in this awkward transition phase between the anime semi-realistic and the super simplified cartoony style I do now. So it just looked really odd and awkward and off for quite a bit. I'm just scrolling through my YouTube here to try to find it. And I just remember never being quite happy with anything. Every once in a while I would, but then I would default to things that, like, I thought I had to draw in a certain way. I thought you had to draw the full eye, and you had to draw the full nose and the lips. And it took me a long time to break out of that and realize you can simplify the face as much as you want. The eyes can be dots. The mouth can be a line. I can go back to drawing mouths as lines because for some reason I drilled into my head that I had to draw the full lips, and you don't. Because during the anime style, I would draw that, and once I decided I can't draw in the anime style anymore, I never want to just draw a line for the mouth, and now I do that all the time, and it's kind of a staple of my current style, but it'll probably keep changing in the future. I remember particularly liking this one drawing called Wings, watercolor speed paint, trying new techniques. I remember really enjoying that video and to kind of figure out some stuff with watercolor and lines that I enjoyed a lot. And I think a big moment for me when I figured out how much I liked to draw backgrounds, and most importantly more natural backgrounds and organic backgrounds, was in the first YouTube Artist Collective video I did. It was a zodiac painting of the girl with the 2 fish under her arms, and I just had so much fun with the details, and I think that was also a breakthrough moment for me with painting with watercolor and buckling down, taking your time, and how much that can really pay off in the end with your final piece. And just really focusing on details, because I used to not like to do that, but now I think I'm pretty detail oriented, or I can do it faster now. Like, I don't have to spend so long to get like more details. I don't know if I'm explaining that properly. It was also around this time where I figured out how much I enjoy drawing animals, and there was this one video called Painting a Cute Kitty Cricut Bright Pad Unboxing, and I loved drawing that, and I just, like, around this time I was figuring out animals are super fun to draw. I love putting animals in my art. I think animals are just a really nice aesthetic, if that makes any sense. And when I was reviewing the Parblo Coast 13 tablet, I did a digital painting of a girl's portrait with like kind of winged eyelashes, but they were literal wings coming off her eyes. And that was a moment where I just figured out some stuff with digital art and my semi-realistic style. I actually really liked that drawing. I liked the way I did the eyes. I think I still like it to this day. And then I kind of started to develop my more simple style as I went on, and I was drawing more animals. My animals were still a bit rough, but I started to draw them more, actually. I can see in my thumbnails here, there's like a bird, a cat, a crow, a bunch of animals there, another bird, a cat, a girl picking flowers. Inktober of 2017 was also big for me, because the year before, I remember looking at it and thinking, wow, I've really improved. And even looking at Inktober from 2017, I can still say I improved, but it's actually a lot better than I would expect from something 2 years old. And then I was still kind of struggling with digital, struggling with colors. I still struggle with colors, who doesn't? I drew some monsters, and I think around like a year ago to a year and a half, I started to kind of figure things out a bit more and do this really simplified face style. But I haven't seen exactly when I started to like really draw in my style. Maybe about a year ago. Yeah, I started to do some gouache paintings. I just started to explore more. I think I got better at colors and just like the whole detail thing, like really taking your time, because I would rush before this. I still rush some things now, but I've learned the value of spending a lot of time on something. I think what was really important for me when I was trying to develop my semi-realism style, I look at other artists and just like wish I could draw like them, and try to pick and choose little pieces from their style and try to incorporate into my own, and just like constantly just like wish I could draw a certain way. And it was after I stopped doing that when I realized how I actually wanted to draw, and what I thought, like, I allowed myself to draw the way that felt natural. And that is the most important thing. I learned that last year in school, pretty much. Like, I was basically like given permission, we were all given permission to just like draw the way that feels right to you, and to not please anybody else, because what's the point of drawing like someone else? You want to be original and you want to have fun drawing. You don't want it to always be a chore and always be reaching for something that doesn't feel like how you want to draw. So that's when I really started to embrace the more simplistic style with like the dot eyes and just, I can't even describe it. I don't even know exactly what my style is, but it was through that I realized the value of not looking at other artists' styles and wishing you could draw like them, and instead seeing it as inspiration for like, wow, their style is so unique. I want to find something that is true to me, and not worry about looking like other people or changing it to suit something that you think you want to draw, but not realizing that isn't actually how you want to draw. So I would always struggle with this thing where I felt like I had to do more details on the face, like I had to not simplify as much. And I still struggle with that, honestly. Like, I'll find myself drawing in a way that doesn't feel right, and then I'll catch myself and then try to draw in a way that feels more true to me and like my style. But I started to draw a lot more animals, and lean into that, because I thought like, oh, you can't draw animals, you should be drawing people for whatever reason. But I try to balance the two now. And I think I've been on a pretty good path to kind of like improving skill-wise. Still not perfect, but these last few months I've kind of found the way I want to draw and how I like to stylize worlds and people and how I like to color. And I just hope I can build upon what I've created for myself and make it even more personal and add even more interesting style elements. And this isn't even something you have to do consciously, because it can happen on its own. And for me, it mostly did happen on its own. It's when I stopped trying to force things that I actually started to improve. And also while I was improving my skills. Like, as my skills got better, I found it easier to just let my style be and just let it become what it's going to become. And I just think if you just work on your skills and not focus on your style so much, just allow yourself to draw the way you want to draw, it will develop. You will find your style at one point or another. Because once you're more skilled, you know how to make things look a certain way. Like, I probably could, I'm not saying I'm like super skilled, but I have improved in the last couple years, and I can probably choose a style and try to draw on it. It would still be influenced by me, but I find it easier to control style elements now that I'm a little more skilled and I can see things that look off and change them. And overall, I really like the way I draw at the moment. Well, something that I think is distinctive about my style, I could be wrong, is I tend to do like the silhouette or like the lines or the drawing of something in a very simplistic way, but then when I color it, I add more details and like chunky shading and lines, and that's what I enjoy to do at the moment. That's what makes me happy with my art. That's how I like to make pieces, but it's always changing, and try to be open to change and open to your art style evolving, because most of you are probably around my age, I'm 21, but most of you are probably like 16 to 25. I think that's my demographic. And just think how many more years you're going to be drawing. Probably until the day you die. Like, you're going to be drawing your entire life if you're anything like me. And you change so much as a person, and your art style will also develop. And try to be open to that and not be too stuck in your ways, because growth is so important. And you might think what you're doing now is good enough, but always try to like keep moving forward, and you can always improve what you have. And if you feel like what you're doing now isn't good enough, it will be. Like, it just takes time and practice and patience, and that's the most annoying thing to hear, but it's true. And that's all it really takes. That's all it really takes. There will be like a magic sort of, not magic, but things will click for you as you progress, and you'll get to a point where you can comfortably make art. And then once you get to that point, you can try to push yourself even more. And the possibilities are endless. I'm just kind of repeating myself over and over at this point. But basically the summary is I started with anime style. I realized I was drawing so many things just off and awkward and wrong. Tried to improve that. Realized I didn't want to draw anime anymore, and I completely rejected that style and tried to move on to semi-realism. Everything looked even more awkward and forced and weird. Like, I was trying to mimic things that didn't feel like me or my style. I thought you had to draw things detailed to be a good artist, but I eventually realized it's okay to simplify, and it actually can be quite beautiful to just completely simplify faces and shapes and animals. And it doesn't have to look like the object. You can stylize as much as you want. And don't focus on what you want your style to be, and focus on what feels right to draw. Because you might think you want it to look a certain way, but in the end, it's probably not exactly what you're looking for. And everyone's different. So this is just my experience. Take this with a grain of salt. But I hope you enjoyed this video of me just talking through my art journey and my style so far. I have a long way to go, but I'm happy where I stand, and I'm excited to see what I can do in the future. So let me know what your sort of style journey has been, or if you're feeling really frustrated with your style and you don't know what to do, leave a comment about that. Feel free to rant. I know I've been there, and it gets easier. You just need to trust yourself and trust the process of practicing and getting better. and you will get to where you want to be. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to check out my Patreon, where I send out monthly postcards and these collectible journal pages and stickers, and I post my sketchbooks there, and I post newsletters about what I'm up to and polls about videos and all kinds of stuff like that. So I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in my next video.